Hey, this is Grace. I just I have had a full day of talking to doctors and nurses on the phone, just following up on my symptoms this past weekend. And yeah, so this morning the doctors called back and they told me that I was tested positive for COVID-19. And good news is I am feeling a lot better. It almost feels like I'm completely recovered. But here I am in my isolation station, not leaving here for 7 days. Yeah, I thought I would just talk this through. So, one, hopefully it can be educational because there's still so many new things that doctors aren't sure of. Two, I just really wanted to say thank you to those of you who have been reaching out, praying for me, sending food. Yeah. uh, it's been a lot. It has been a lot. Lucas is downstairs and he's finally asleep because he's so tired from taking care of Zoe and sanitizing everything. And it's been almost 4 days of that. So yeah, I thought I would explain and break down everything that happened to me, how I was feeling, what I was noticing, and yeah, be able to explain it first-handedly so there's like no fear or confusion or rumors out there. And yes, I am still Grace. Here I am. I am not a different person just because I contracted COVID. I'm still your friend. I hope we're still friends. I hope that you won't be afraid to hug me after 7 days. I just got off the phone with the doctor. It's 7 days. I hope we can still interact the same way. And I'm still here for you. So, yeah, let's stay friends. Please. It's funny because that's like my number one fear. Says something about me, I guess. But yeah. So I actually ended up recording my symptoms as they came because I had this fear that, well, no, I had a very valid fear that I wouldn't be able to get tested because of how limited the resources are. And also because when I was 10 or something, I lost my eyesight because this doctor wouldn't believe me when I told him about my symptoms, and he said that what I'm describing is very rare in a little girl, so most likely just treated with steroids. And I gained a bunch of weight on steroids, and my eyesight went pretty much blind. So that's why I have one eye today, but one functioning eye today. But yes, anyways, so all that to say, I recorded each symptom as I was experiencing them because I just had a hunch that this was different. I'm typically a super healthy person. I catch a cold maybe once a year. I am generally pretty active. I eat like a normal person. So yeah, I felt like this was very atypical of me to experience these symptoms, especially so close together. And given the time that we're in, I just had a hunch that like this was it. Honestly, like the first night it started happening, I had a hunch that this was it. And yes, there's so many voices out there on what this could look like, but it's pretty clear cut on what it can look like. It's exactly what people tell you. I feel like if you have it, you would know it. If you have it, like it's out of the ordinary. You would know that you have it. So yeah, there is no point in wasting time to be fearful for yourself if you're not showing symptoms at all. And yes, like there are people walking out on the street who are completely asymptomatic, but you just, that's out of your control. So there's no point in worrying about those people. Anyways, Friday, let's go back to Friday right after work. I started experiencing some sore throat, and it wasn't mucousy. I didn't have any nasal congestions. It was just like something was like hurting in there. But I didn't even have a cough. It was just very sore. As the night went on, Friday night I started getting a headache. So at this point, it was only sore throat and inconsistent headache, mild here and there. It wasn't pounding. It was just like kind of bothering you. So at that point, I was still interacting with Zoe and Lucas normally. I was still directly breastfeeding Zoe. So then I went to bed, and then around 3 or 4 a.m. on Saturday, I woke up and I was super hot. I was super hot, and that's when I took my temperature. And you should definitely have a thermometer in your house if you don't. We only got it when Zoe was born. Yes, in a time like this, it is very useful. So I took my temperature, and at that point, I was like 99.9 and 100. So I was like, oh, I have a low grade fever. This is really weird. I never get fevers. But I wasn't feeling horrible. In the back of my head, I was kind of like, maybe this is COVID-19. But at the same time, well, let's not freak out. Yeah, so then that morning, I still I interacted with Zoe. I even fed her breakfast, a little bit of breakfast. As the day went, I had to start taking acetaminophen because my fever was starting to go from 100 to 101.6, fluctuating back and forth. And my headache was it was becoming moderately to very painful. It was like a pounding headache. And so I continued to take acetaminophen every once in a while. I pretty much started just like sleeping the day away. Oh, and then also I was starting to get this dry cough. When people tell you about dry cough, it's literally a dry cough, and if you've never experienced it, then you wouldn't understand what that means, because usually you're like, well, there's phlegm coming out. There's no phlegm, or at least for me. And everyone's symptom and presentation can be very different, but it felt like there was like a cardboard in here, and I had to around it to get my voice out. Oh my god. Oh gosh. So then I was really attacking my vocal folds to eventually have my voice back. Eventually I just lost my voice because I was coughing so hard. Sunday came. I was just constantly sweaty. And at that point, I was feeling so bad that I started isolating myself in my room, because I was like, this is it. There's nothing else feels this bad. It is Sunday, and I am officially isolating in my room for Zoe and Lucas's sake. But maybe it's not the corona, it could be just my annual sickness. And I also called my manager. She gave me the COVID hotline for our hospital, which I work at. So I called them and they said they would put me on a wait list, but that doesn't guarantee testing. So yeah, I was sweating a lot. My fever was still there. At that point, I was still taking acetaminophen every 4 to 5 hours. Pretty much laid in bed all day. Lucas would bring me food and drinks at the door and pick up the milk that I pumped at the door. Oh, poor guy. I was able to log on to the computer and worship virtually with my church, but pretty much I had my eyes closed, the curtains closed, because anything that was too stimulative worsened my headaches. And woke up at 2 a.m. on Monday, so Sunday night, but then 2 a.m. Monday morning, just I woke up from shaking so hard due to my body chills. My body was so cold, even though I had so many layers on me. And then my head was so hot. I just couldn't figure my body out. It was such an oxymoron. And I took my temperature and I was 104 at that point. So then I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna fry to death. And then I took medicine right away, which made me nauseous, really nauseous. And then I knew oh, there were things coming up. So then I grabbed my trash can and I started puking. And I puked about maybe a third of the bucket, and it smelled like Parasite ramen. Ew. Yeah, I was just I was feeling too bad to even function at that point. And poor Lucas, he heard me, so then obviously he came in to help without any protective gears on. Yeah, tossed my puke away. At that point, I was really desperate, so I called the COVID hotline and they were able to squeeze me in on Monday. I'm so glad that I finally got an appointment to go get tested, and whether this is COVID or not, I'm just glad to get some sort of direction and intervention to see how to get myself better, because I really feel like crap, especially after last night. My fever now has come back down to 100. Monday, I was definitely starting to feel better. I feel like I had puked the virus out. And actually, that's exactly what my doctor said. There is a period of like when you're shedding the virus. That's what he called it, shedding the virus. Like when you're laughing, when you're singing, when you're talking, the air in front of you is most likely going to be contaminated with the virus. But he did say the most contagious time a person is 2 days before their symptoms began. And so, yeah, Monday I went in and so we're supposed to wait here in our car. Oh, my headache is so bad right now. I don't even know if we're gonna go in. Okay, we made it. They made sure I stayed really far away from the front desk when they collected my information. Yeah, it was pretty quick. By the time I went in for testing, I was feeling better. The only thing left was the headache. Even the cough really had gone down. They measured me and I was at 97 degrees. Okay.
Somebody will call you, whether it's positive or negative. Continue taking Tylenol, keep your fever down, push fluids. And since you vomited last night, maybe just stay on clear liquids today. Lots of rest, push fluids, stay away from everybody, of course.
Honestly, ever since I got tested, I have been feeling a lot better. I just got off the Zoom conference with the doctor that's taking care of me for COVID, and he shared a lot of information with me. Most importantly, though, if you are a breastfeeding mom and you have contracted COVID, it seems like the CDC is saying that your breast milk should be safe for your baby, so don't be throwing that away. And they don't have that much data about babies, but mostly because it seems like babies aren't affected as much as the adults have been. But since I have to be isolating myself from Lucas and everyone else, I pretty much won't be around Zoe for the duration of this isolation, which is 7 days after the onset of your symptom. So the only way for me to see my baby now is through the baby cam. And at the end of that 7 days, you have to be 3 days fever-free or 72 hours fever-free, and all your symptoms have to have resolved. And then even after 7 days of isolation, you should probably still wear a mask, is what the doctor said. But then he said for Lucas, he's gonna have to be in isolation for 14 days from my onset of symptoms, and then another 7 if he starts developing symptoms himself, because at this point we have no idea if he's infected or not. He told me to contact them if I am experiencing any shortness of breath or if I'm walking around and it feels like I have chest tightness. But I will say that's the one thing I haven't experienced, which is why I think a lot of young people don't realize they have it if they're just calling it off as like seasonal allergy, is because young people who contract it can recover very fast, like I did, since we're missing that respiratory distress piece.
So please stay home, young people.
And in terms of testing, expect to feel like a plague. But obviously everyone's going to be geared up in those suits that look like astronauts. They're going to be like, stand right there. They're going to tell you, stand right there. Like, don't come near me. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure you've seen it. It's literally just a swab, and they enter it into your nose all the way to the posterior pharyngeal wall, which is the back wall of your throat, but a little bit higher than that. So like the back wall of your nose. It's going to feel really funny. It's not painful, but it's very unpleasant. They don't just insert it in. They insert it until you feel it on your tissue, and then they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to swab, really get that tissue out, and then they pull it out to really collect that sample. After testing, I got a nosebleed because, well, she was like freaking scraping off my tissues. So that's probably pretty normal. Yeah, so I love you guys. 谢谢你们为我祷告. And please stay home. Really, that's the only way we can stop the spread. So I thought I would end this video by talking about the supplements I've been taking to build up my and my family's immunity in case Lucas and Zoe ends up contracting the virus from me. But honestly, I should have been taking these supplements even before this pandemic all started. Something you and your family can start doing now. Vitamin D3 is important for building strong bones and teeth. It also plays a major role in healthy cell development and helps support a healthy immune system. Vitamin B12 helps with red blood cell formation. It also supports bone health and prevents a type of anemia, which makes you feel tired and weak. Vitamin C provides antioxidants, protection, and promotes skeletal, muscle, cardiovascular, and skin health. It also helps maintain a healthy cholesterol level and promote normal regulation of heart functions. Zinc, something I never took before, is important for regulating your immune and metabolism functions. It's good for wound healing, stabilizing blood sugars, treating diarrhea and the common cold, and even decreases your risks for age-related chronic diseases. Propolis apparently treats all sorts of problems and is a natural remedy. It has healing properties that are antimicrobial, antifungal, antiviral, anti-inflammatory, and anti-tumor qualities. Pretty much all you need in your life to live forever, I guess. Lastly, selenium boosts your immune system, which can help reduce asthma symptoms and protect you against heart diseases. I just take a single dosage of each as part of my morning routine now, and they don't taste great, so I follow it up with a shot of chocolate milk. And voila, I've pretty much consumed the entire periodic table. I hope this was helpful, and I pray that you and your family is staying healthy. We love you guys, and make sure you subscribe. We will see you next time. Bye.